If it is or if it ain't, it's gonna come out.
I hope that you all had a great Friday. Mine was just fine. Um, yeah, my Friday was pretty smooth overall. I mean, I did my virtual acting class. I hung out with the ladies of Unwind for a few minutes in my group Unwind Self Care and Sip Spa on Facebook. What else did I do? After that, I mean, that's pretty much was it. I did not work out, so wah. My apologies for that. There's a few reasons I didn't, but it doesn't matter. I didn't work out yesterday. But yeah, that was pretty much my day. I pretty much chilled, and then I watched a uh, adaptation of Merry Wives. Well, it's called Merry Wives. It seemed like a theater in the square or theater in the garden type of video. It was nice. It was nice to see uh, live theater being performed and whatnot. I don't know. Does it make me itch to get back on the stage? I mean, again, I consider the things I do to be theater. You know what I do with my business, but in live, because it's a live performance, so it's not. But there is something about like a full-on scripted stage experience, And I guess speaking of, I know my mentor mentioned to me that she plans on kicking things back off with her theater company next year. And if that's the case, that means, I guess I'm going to be in some shows. At least that's what she's telling me. So, yeah. Will your girl be back on the stage real soon? We shall see. Oh man, look who caught me live, Miss Michaela. None other than Miss Michaela of y'all know it. Y'all should know it if you've been listening to me. Um, TTC Boutique, man. Miss TTC Boutique is in the house. I caught your girl live this morning. Good morning, Miss Michaela. Thanks for tuning in. Um, but yeah, man. That's what yesterday looked like for me. Um, and well, I'm excited. I'm excited because hubby and I will be decided to go to celebrate El Zumo today. We're gonna just go to this Mexican restaurant. I just put it out there on social media, like, hey, if y'all want to come with us, come with us. We're not. I don't know what time yet, so I don't know if it will be lunch or dinner or sometime in between. I have no clue. But at some point today, we do plan to go out and do that. And while I'm out, I'm going to give away a few copies of the book. And that's, again, an idea inspired by my lovely husband. I say every now and then those husbands come in handy, man. But anywho, yeah, man. So that's the plan for today. Outside of that's it. That's all I know of that we have plans to do today. Um, but let's get into the juice. So let's get into the juice this morning. So basically, the interesting thing about this morning is that I just kept waking up randomly. Like, now I think the first time we can blame hubby because he he came in and did something, and I thought it was time to get up, and I remember her just saying, "Hey, leave the light on," or whatever, whatever. And then I look at my clock, and it was just 2:13, and I was like, "Oh man, I got like some hours. What am I doing?" So I ended up looking up Bible 2:13, and then I went back to sleep. I didn't read what it said. I just put it in my Google. I was like, I'll look at it later, and then I went back to sleep. Then next thing I know, I woke up again randomly and it was 3:09. And same thing. I was like, man, it's still early. I can go back to sleep. So I did the same thing. Looked up Bible, 3:09, and then just left it in the Google search, whatever, and then I went back to sleep. So by the time I woke back up, actually at the time of 4, um, I did the prayer meditation. I listened to it. I don't really remember much from it now, but I did listen to it. I remember it being pretty good. I might have fell asleep slightly on it, but I woke up, I guess, when I needed to. I guess God just was like, wake up. So I did. And then I started to look at the search bars and see what I had found that morning, at 2:13 and 3:09. When I read the verses for 3:09, that's what kind of, I guess, solidified that I should do this topic today. And then I went back to look up 2:13, and the interesting thing is, as I started writing the verses down, like majority of the verses I wrote down was 2:13 verses, and then I only wrote down one 3:09 verse. But oh well, here we go. So first I'm gonna start with Philippians 2:13. It says, "For it is God which worketh in you, both to will and do of His good pleasure." I found that interesting because didn't we just talk about yesterday our or my soul, my choice, or something like that. As much as we think about that, yeah, we got choices. I'm not going to sit here and say that we don't have any power, right? Because I do believe that God has given us power and self-control and all these different things. But I think we also should keep in mind that, He has everything under control. He planned everything out, all these different things. And so this verse reminded me of that this morning as I was reading it, that, He works in us the will to do of His, both the will and to do of His good pleasure. So I guess those of us that are actually walking in that, we will see the fruits from that. But those of us that choose not to, then that's something else. Another verse that stood out to me this morning was Joel 2:13. It says, "And read." Michaela, I always do this. Every now and then I write so quick, and then it's like, what did I write? I don't know if it looks like I wrote read, but that don't sound right. But anyway, y'all can confirm. Y'all can look at Joel 2:13. I'm just going to say rend? I don't know. "And something your heart and not your garments, and turn unto the Lord your God, for He is gracious and merciful, slow to anger, and of great kindness, and repenteth Him of evil." Rend, I think that word might have been rend, REND. But again, y'all can confirm that when y'all read it for yourself, right? But yeah, what stood out to me the most when I was reading this was the part I'm jumbled up, which was rending your heart and not your garments. Let me read this next verse, and then I think it should show a little bit why that part stood out to me. So Malachi 2:13, it says, "And turn have ye done again." No, excuse me. "And this have ye done again, covering the altar of the Lord with tears, with weeping, and with crying out, insomuch that He regardeth not the offering any more, or receiveth it with good will at your hand." When you go deeper, if you decide to go deeper, you're going to read around that verse, and it's kind of pretty much saying like, these people are like casting these offerings and they're doing these things over and over again. Basically, it's like they've done something that isn't pleasing to God, yet they keep going to Him and, trying to give offerings. And so that kind of reminds me of that previous verse, because it's saying like not in our garments and things like that, because God is merciful and stuff. So we need to be giving Him our hearts. Like that's what He wants at the end of the day. So both of those kind of went hand in hand to me this morning. But yeah. Here's another one. Actually, I think that was the end of my Joel 2:13, the ones that I wrote down. But y'all can keep going deeper with that. I mean, there was plenty of other verses that were under the 2:13 category as I was looking. Those are just the ones that stood out to me this morning. But the one verse that I wrote that was represents 3:09 was Matthew 3:9. Now the interesting thing is, what I saw originally, I thought was the verse, but I guess it was a quote about the verse. Because when I actually went to the Bible app and I looked up the actual verse, it was different than what I had read. So let me read the actual verse first. So the actual verse says, "And think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. For I say unto you that God is able to God is able of these stones to raise up children unto Abraham." So it was interesting because I kept reading it over and over again because I was like, did I miss something? Because the quote I'm going to get ready to read you is quite different. So I was like, am I not, like, maybe that was a different interpretation or whatnot, but I'm understanding. I think it was a quote that I was reading about the verse. And the verse itself is just pretty much saying, like, these people are puffing themselves up because they feel as if they're Abraham's children, X, Y, and Z. But check out this quote. It says, "So do not pride yourselves on having Abraham for your father. Rather blush that you inherit his blood, but not his holiness." So that was the thing that stood out to me this morning for that verse. And I was like, ooh, when I had read that, I was like, ooh. But then I found the actual verse, and then I was like, okay, it's different. But it's still saying the same thing. Like, I mean, it says, even the verse, I mean, when you think about it, it went a little bit harder, I think, because it says that basically it's like, don't puff yourself up that you think that you're Abraham's son, X, Y, and Z, because God can make these stones a child of Abraham. And I was like, okay. But either way, I just find it interesting because, again, we always like to think that, one group is better than the other. I'm Abraham's family, we blood, whatever. Like, people go in about, I guess, cultural things. But I guess in the spiritual sense, well, look, this is a phrase you hear in the old Baptist churches and stuff. He's like, they say holiness is right? Yeah, but that quote really did stand out to me this morning because it just was like, you inherited the blood, but not the holiness. Ooh, like, ooh. It's like, we need to work on ourselves, man. But again, even the Bible verse again went hard with saying that, what does that mean? Because God can make stones Abraham's children. It's like, dang. So those are the verses that I thought about this morning as I was, that stood out to me. I hope they encourage and inspire you. I hope that you're inspired to go deeper, because the go deeper section is literally just go deeper, man. Whether you decide to continue to look up verses centered around 2:13 and 3:09, or if you just take those verses and just read more, read the surrounding verses to get the context that these were written in. Either way, that's the juice this morning. That is the juice. But the Bible verse of today is Matthew 5 and I don't want to say it wrong. Let me see. It's either 13 or 3. Let me go back to my app and see. Can I look at it real quick? Goodness gracious. My screen keeps going out on me, y'all. Let me try one again. Okay. Let me see. Where is the Bible app? Don't stop recording. Yeah, it's 5 and 3. I just was wanting to make sure, y'all. I don't want to give y'all the wrong thing. Okay, Matthew 5 and 3. It says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Friends, I hope you all enjoyed this juice this morning. Thank you so much for listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. I pray you guys can go forth and have a wonderful day, and I look forward to talking to you all on Monday, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.
Hello, charmers. Visit ttcboutique.com for the latest in fashion and accessories. Twice the charm, the source of women clothing.